Alright, welcome once again to the third session of our career startup workshop. And in this session, we are going to proceed from where we stopped last time. Last time we were identifying the various career building stages, the stages that are involved in career building. And we mentioned self-assessment, which is the first stage, career exploration, which is the second stage, career discovery, the third stage, gap closure, the fourth stage. This was where we are during the last session. Now, there are a number of things again we still need to look at before we proceed to the next stage. But the next stage is the career launch. Once you have been able to close all your gap, the next thing you need to do is to what? Is to launch your career. Then the sixth stage is what? Career establishment. Launching your career is different from establishing yourself within the industry, and we are going to take a look at that. And then we are going to move on to career growth. How are you going to make sure that you are growing within your career space? There are so many things that come that depends on growing your career, and you don't want to be static. The next is what? Your career maturity and reinvention. So there is that point that comes in your career journey where you need to reinvent. And then the last stage, which is the ninth one, is what? Your career decline and retirement, where you prepare for your career decline or for retirement. So let us proceed on talking about gap closure, right? Now, in gap closure, you also want to do what we call setting SMART goals. Because remember, we talk about gap closure to be that you being able to close the gaps that exist between what you have, who you are, and what industry experts are looking for, right? So you want to be able to upscale yourself to the point where you are able to meet the requirement of employment. Because one of the challenges we are going to have is having to apply for a job and being disqualified because you are not qualified for the role you are looking for, because you have not been able to upskill yourself over time. And one of the things you need to do to be able to ensure that you are able to close your gap, thereby opening multiple options for you, is to set SMART goals. You must have heard about people who got several job appointments and they now have to pick the best out of them. Why are they able to attain that? They're able to attain that because they've been able to close their gaps. As a result, they are attractive to different companies, they are attractive to different organizations. Different organizations want to employ them, so they are looking for them. Organizations are looking for them. You know, one thing job seekers don't know is that as much as they want a job, employers are also looking for them. They are not the only one looking. So it's a two-way thing. You are searching for a job, employers are also searching for you. Whether they are going to find you depends on how well you position yourself, on how well you're able to close your gaps, right? And let us look at some of the things you can do. And the first one will be what? To set a SMART goal. What is a SMART goal? A SMART goal, SMART stands for what? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Now, once you identify your gaps, whether it's a knowledge gap, it's a skill gap, it's a technical gap which has to do with technologies, whatever gap that you have identified that you don't have, whatever you have identified that the industry is looking for that you don't have, you have to be very, very specific about it. You have to state clearly that, okay, I don't have A, I want to achieve A, right? Then number two is measurable. Measurable means that you want to be able to measure your progress over time. How do you know that you have been able to close that particular gap? So you want to be able to measure your effort over time. The next is what? Achievable. Whatever it is, you have to be something that you can achieve. You don't have to be something that is out of your reach. You don't have to be something that is, that is totally unaffordable for you. So you want to be able to put yourself in a position where you are able to achieve whatever goal that you have set. Don't go and overset your goals. Don't go and pack too many things over time. You still have a lot of time to be able to plan yourself, 10 years, 15 years, right? So you want to take your time to make sure that you beat down your goals into smaller sizes so that you're able to take them one at a time. And then the next one is what? Relevant. Whatever it is that you want to learn, it has to be relevant to your career path. It has to be something that is relevant to the industry. You don't want to go and start learning skills that are no longer relevant. You don't want to go and start learning things, technologies that are already outdated. So whatever software you want to learn, maybe a software that needs to support your head knowledge or your knowledge of the industry, has to be something that is relevant, that will be something that is updated, right? Then the next one is what? Time bound. You need to place a time to whatever it is you are doing, because the industry is going to change. Industry is changing with time. Technology is bringing in disruptions across different industries. So everything you want to do has to be time bound. You don't want to take 1 year learning just one thing. So it's important for you to have a sense of time and place a sense of time to whatever goal that you are setting, right? Now we have an example of a SMART goal statement here, and I would like you to pause and then take a look at it. And what you have here is I will improve my public speaking skills by giving 3 presentations and seeking feedback from my peers by December 15th, dedicating 2 hours each week to practice through online courses and local meetup, which will help me advance in managerial position. So this is a statement, this is a SMART goal statement that states what the person wants to achieve, when the person wants to achieve it, and how the person is going to determine if he has achieved it or not. Now the next thing is to do what we call a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, right? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities that are there before you? And then what are the threats that exist? What are the things that can threaten whatever it is that you are doing? So your strength can be leveraged upon, during your learning processes to be able to help you manage your existing skills and upskill and learn more on it. And then your weaknesses refers to the things that you cannot do, the things you don't have the ability to do. They can even be human weaknesses, natural weaknesses that you have. I think one of the mistakes people make is to think that weaknesses are just to be bare, that weaknesses are just there. Some people feel helpless because they are weak in certain areas. Weaknesses are not something that you're supposed to undo, you're supposed to manage. It's something you're supposed to improve on. It's something you're supposed to develop. It's something you're supposed to, be able to develop the ability to outweigh it, right? So if you are weak in presentation, if you are weak in speaking, that is a weakness. You don't have to continue living your life like that. You have to learn things, acquire skills that will help you to be able to speak more fluently, right? So if any area at all that you identify a weakness, calls for some actions that you need to take to be able to improve in that area. Then opportunities are resources that are available to you, people that are available to you, things that are available to you that you can leverage on to improve yourself, either to learn a new skill or maybe to acquire a new knowledge in any area that you need to learn about, right? And then we talk about your threats. Your threats can help you to prepare for potential challenges and stay proactive in your learning effort, right? So threats are things that, for example, poverty can be a threat. You don't want to be poor, right? So you want to be able to have a family, be able to provide for your family, and we can all agree that with rising inflations, having a family, setting up a family is quite expensive now. So your threat, if you always remember the fact that you want to set up a family and what it will cost you to set up a family, that will not become a threat. Why is it a threat? Every time when you remember that, you are inspired to want to do more. You are inspired to want to make in more effort, to want to put in more effort. So that is why it is important, right? That is why it is important. Now, let's look at your priority chart. Now, your priority chart teaches you how to prioritize your tasks. It teaches you how you can ensure that at every point in time, you are giving out your time to what is most important. So on your priority chart, you have what is important, not important. We have short term, long term. We have urgent, not urgent. Now, it's important for you to at every point in time know what is important and what is not important. Sometimes something is important, but it is not urgent. It is important, but it is not urgent, right? So it is not urgent, it is urgent, but it is not important. If it is urgent, but it is not very much important, it also calls for serious consideration. Now, there are some things that are important and they are urgent, right? So if it is important and it is urgent, it's something you urgently need. For example, you're about to leave school. There are some skills you need to have for you to be able to to get a job. You need to be that is what important, and it is urgent. Then you need to also look at the impact in terms of the short term and the long term. So whatever it is that you commit your time into doing, you need to look at the impact over time. Is it something that is a short term, or is it something that has a long term effect? Because cause and effect, right? The law of cause and effect, that whatever it is that you are doing, you have to consider the effect of that, right? So you don't want to commit your time into doing things that only have a temporal or a short-term impact on your career development as a person. So you want to be looking at a long time, 3 years time, 5 years time. This thing I'm doing, how is it going to translate into something reasonable? How is it going to build your capacity on the long term, such that at least after 5 years, after 3 years, you're able to what? To earn more income, you're able to handle more complex projects, right? Okay, now let us look at career launch. Once you have been able to do all of this, you set your SMART goals, you identify your career gaps, you close your gaps, you now want to launch your career, right? Now, you land your first job. You want to focus on what we call the first time impression on your job. You want to show some level of expertise, some level of competence. And then we also talk about career establishment, where you're able to build a name for yourself as an expert in that particular industry. You want people to know that yes, you are competent in that particular area. Very, very important. Then we also talk about career growth. That the beauty of having a career is that over time you are able to grow in it. You won't be said to have a career if there is no growth. You have to grow. Very, very important. It is important that you grow. It is important that you move, right? We have what we call the vertical growth and horizontal growth. Vertical growth are growth that relates to what? Promotion and leadership roles, while horizontal growth are growth that comes with what? Acquiring new skills, switching to different roles. Why? When you move from from a company from company A to company B on your career path, you are carrying out what we call an horizontal growth, because as you are moving, you are stepping into what? You are stepping in with new skills, with new roles, with new qualification, and that creates a space for what we call an horizontal growth. And then your vertical growth happens with promotion. You are in your workplace, you are promoted, right? All of those characterize what we call vertical growth. Then the next is what? Career maturity and reinvention. As you progress within your career space, it is expected that you grow to a space where people will begin to look up to you, where people begin to consult you, right? And this can have a lot of beneficial interest on your maybe retirement, on your career decline. Because what you want to do as somebody who have been able to travel a particular career path for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, is that at the end of your work, you are able to reinvent yourself to become a consultant in that space, right? So people are able to consult you. So you see professors in school, they finish work, but they are still offering consultancy services. They're no longer regular employees again. Maybe they have retired, but they are still able to move around. They are still being called upon, maybe by their schools or by different schools for different consulting services, because of what they have built this long experience of 30 years, 20 years to do something to travel a particular path, or to do a particular job, or to be within an industry for 20 years is not a joke, right? So once you are done, with this, you want to reinvent yourself in a new way to become a consultant in that field. Of course, you are no longer going to be on the daily pay, on the daily work like you used to be when you started up the career, but you're able to transform yourself, you're able to bring yourself to that point where you are able to, still offer services. And the beauty of this is that, of reinventing your career, is that you are able to earn more from whatever it is that you are offering. Trust me, consultants earn more than regular employees. Just think about it. Any consultant you see who is consulting in any area, think about these professors who are moving around, going for workshop, training people around, they are earning more than they ever earned on their job. And so it's important for you to be able to, to travel this path and ensure you manage your progression through this process. So what we want you to do after today, we want you to identify your skills and your learning gaps, and then rearrange them in your order of priority. We talk about your priority chart, right? So you want to reorder your skills, your gaps, the gaps you have identified, arrange them in your order of priority. And then you want to use the SWOT table, the SWOT analysis, to identify the available resources that are at your disposal that you can use to close your gap. And then number 3, you want to use the SMART goal principle to develop your career goal and statement. And then number 4, and the last assignment you want you to do is to identify possible challenges that may impact your goal, right? Identify some of the challenges, some of the things, some of the threats that can motivate you into striving and into working harder. Thank you very much for joining this session, and we'll see you in the next session. In the next session, we are going to be looking at the career plan templates, where we're going to be showing you how to use the template to develop your career startup plan. Thank you very much. See you next.